Want to get creeped out? I want to talk about someone who tried the Shoebox telephone game and had a crazy creepy experience. If you don't know, the Shoebox telephone game is one of those creepy games rituals that you do to contact someone who is deceased. Essentially, you write that person a letter, tell them everything you want to tell them. You say it all into this Shoebox telephone that you make. I did post a video explaining what it is if you want to watch it. You go to sleep, you wait until you dream that that person who is deceased is trying to call you, and then you're supposed to wake up and go listen to the telephone that you made. And some people have creepy experiences. This person did not wake up from the dream. So they were trying to contact their grandmother who had passed away about 5 years prior. We'll name this girl Helena. Helena wants to talk to her grandma. She loved her grandma. They were very close. She thought that this would be an interesting thing to try. She didn't think anything would really happen from it. So she followed the instructions, did everything she was supposed to do, wrote her grandma a really beautiful letter that she read aloud to her, and went to bed. That night, she dreams that she wakes up in her room and there is a soft knock at her bedroom door. She's thinking it's her parents. So she says, come in. And the door opens just a crack and she turns her head because the door is near her head and she can see a little bit of her grandmother's face. Her grandma goes, you called? And she remembers though that you're not supposed to say anything. And even though this is the dream, she's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything to my grandma. Like in the rules, you're supposed to only speak to the person when you're reading your letter. So she's like, I'm not going to say anything. She's thinking she's about to wake up for real right away and go listen to her phone. She just looks at her grandma and her grandma just sticks her hand through the crack of the door and like goes like, come here. So she gets up out of bed, opens the door. And when she opens the door, she can just see the back of her grandma. Her grandma is like wearing the same clothes she would usually wear. Helena is thinking this is really weird, but maybe this is what's actually going to happen is my grandma's going to communicate with me like this. So she starts following her grandma through the dark house. Her grandma leads her down the stairs and out the front door. And they're walking down the street when they get to this weird little park that she's never seen before. And in the park, there's a shed. And her grandma starts walking towards the shed. It's really dark out. And Helena is starting to get this really eerie feeling. She knows that she's supposed to be dreaming this. So she's thinking to herself, like, this is a weird dream, right? So she goes to pinch herself to see if it hurts. It hurt. Now she's thinking this is real. Like, this isn't a dream. What the fuck is happening right now? But it's her grandma. So she goes and she follows her grandma into this shed. And when they get into the shed, there are stairs that go down. And so they start walking down these stairs. And this part is so fucking creepy. As they're walking down the stairs, her grandma starts humming, which she says is creepy. Like she said, the way her grandma was humming was like giving her a pit in her stomach. So when they get down the stairs, there's this really long, dark room that looks like it's all cement. It's also really tall. There are pillars and there are also like stone pools of water all over the place, which I've also had a dream in a place like that was really creepy and weird. So I don't know, that also really struck me with this one. There are also like torches on the wall, so it's a little bit more lit down in this basement. It's still dark, but there are places that are a little bit more lit. So she goes and she grabs one of the torches and goes up to her grandma to get closer to her. And it almost looks like her grandma's trying to hide from her. She's like, okay, I'm going to talk now. She's like, grandma, what's going on? And her grandma just keeps walking down in this room. And she puts her hand on her grandma, turns her grandma around, has her torch. She's looking at her grandma. And she said like, it looked like her grandma, but there were these weird characteristics, like something about her nose wasn't the right size. Her skin seemed really, she described it that it looked almost like clay, like, but more real than clay, but like it was weird looking. Something was off. And the way that her grandma was looking at her was a way she had never seen her grandma look at her. It was like her grandma had this look on her face that she just couldn't recognize. But her grandma seemed cheerful still and had her grandma's voice and said, everything's fine. I just want to show you something. They keep walking down this room and it leads to this big stone door that her grandma pulls aside, which also she mentions like her grandma's like this tiny little woman and moves this door, but it is a dream, but she doesn't think it's a dream at the time. Okay. So they go into this room and in this room, there is a chair. Helena said she doesn't understand it. She doesn't know why, but she looks at this chair and she has a pit in her stomach. The hairs on the back of her neck are standing up. She just has such a terrible, weird feeling about this chair. Her grandma walks up to it and taps it, says, sit down. And she's like, no, I'm okay, grandma. And her grandma's like, Helena, sit down. I want to talk to you. And Helena's like, you know what? I'm just going to stand, grandma. Like, what do you want to talk to me about? And then her grandma's voice changes. Still looks like her sweet little grandma with a little bit of features that seem off, but her grandma's voice changes and gets really deep and scary and says, sit down. So Helena takes off running in the other direction. She can hear something following her, something running behind her, something breathing heavy. It sounds like the breath is very deep. She goes back up the stairs, back through the shed. She's running back to her house. And eventually when she's nearing her house, she doesn't hear anything behind her anymore. She turns around. She doesn't see anything. She doesn't see the park that was there. She doesn't see the shed. She's kind of just looking around, taking in her surroundings, super scared. She wakes wakes up. It is the middle of the night. She decides she's not going to go and answer the phone for the shoebox game ritual. And also weird, I'm recording this and I had to make a part 2 because I talk a lot. And this song that came on for me to record with TikTok was called Sleepwalker. Okay, weird. But anyways, she wakes up. She's in her bed. She's like, okay, this was a dream. I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm not going to go into my shoebox, which is my closet. And she leaves. Doesn't have a dream like that again. But a few weeks later, her aunt comes over and her aunt and her are visiting with her mom. They're having a coffee and she's like, Helena, I forgot to tell you. I had the weirdest dream about grandma. We were sitting in a park near your house. I've never seen it before. And she said, you have to tell Helena not to play that game again. Like, what? She was like shocked and her aunt was like, she was just so insistent in the dream. I felt like I needed to tell you, like, have you been doing something stupid? Helena's like, no, of course not. Let me know if you want to know about the dream that I had about a place that literally sounds like the same place. I had the craziest dream and it had sleep paralysis in it. So is this another mall world, but like a really shitty version? I don't know. Anyways, that's it for this one. See you next time.